Hi, everybody. We've got another tutorial here today. This one's going to be about circuit and wiring diagrams. And so, we spend a lot of time building stuff with our Arduino. We have these wires, they're all connected to different spots, and they have to be connected right, or else this, doesn't work. And so it's really handy or useful if we can draw out how these things are connected. And so that drawing is called a wiring diagram. And I'm just going to share my screen with you. So you can see what I'm talking about. So usually when we've done wiring diagrams, I've included lots of wiring diagrams on the website, lots of times with your, see, like in the, let's see here. Let's go down to some of these, like the Wi-Fi module. Here are a bunch of wiring diagrams. And so this is one way to represent how stuff is wired together. And so this is a simple wiring diagram. We have different parts. We have shown how they're all connected. And this is useful. And to do this, you might have done this yourself before, is using Tinkercad. And so this is kind of, I guess, how we've started thinking about wiring diagrams. Let's go ahead and sign in. And so this is a really handy tool if you're just kind of getting started with Arduinos and wires and stuff like that, and you want to show how everything is connected together. So over on this left side, there's this tab called Circuit, and you can see in here the different wiring diagrams that I've made. You can also create a new circuit, but this is a wiring diagram. However, if I go to create a new circuit and say most of the stuff is over on the right side that I might want, and I can go to all. So here's all the different things that I can use in here. This is a little bit limited. So let's say that I wanted, a Wi-Fi module. You can see that there's no Wi-Fi module here, and there's no real easy way for me to create one. And so if you look at the wiring diagram that I made for your Wi-Fi module, I used a different part, and I just kind of labeled it, kind of how the Wi-Fi module is labeled, and I put it in here, and it kind of works. However, to take this to the next level, we need a way more specific way, a way more professional way to make these wiring diagrams. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Just because for our invention, we're going to need a good wiring diagram that is, I guess, describes stuff in more detail than we can do using Tinkercad. And so we're going to use a new program. It's going to be Easy EDA. I think is it easyeda.com, is it? You can see I'm already signed in to Easy EDA. So you will need to actually sign in, create an account. You should have also gotten an email from me inviting some of you. I guess we'll talk about that because I was limited in the number of emails I could send out. But what you're going to do is you need to create an account. So go to easyeda.com, sign in, create an account. Then you're going to go to the Easy EDA Designer. And in here, what we can do is we can actually create new wiring circuit diagrams to show off our invention. It's pretty simple. You have kind of master folders over here for the different groups that you might be a part of. So I have my own personal space, and I can create a new, let's go up here, let's create a new schematic. And so we can see here I've got a new schematic. This is going to be kind of similar to how the Tinkercad worked. So it's kind of similar in that we're going to take parts, we're going to put them out on this board, and we are going to kind of just show how stuff is wired together. For the demonstration for today, and kind of what I want you to be able to do, is we're going to just make a simple circuit with a power source, an LED, and a resistor. Right, so just like kind of the simplest circuit you might even be able to think of. And so I've created a new project. I would like you to just kind of do the same. So go ahead and follow along, go and create a new, what do they call them? They call them new schematic. So this is a wiring diagram, also called a schematic. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull out some parts. And so just like we had the library in Tinkercad, we have this kind of electronics library here. And this is going to have your most basic stuff inside of it. So we can see here's a resistor. It's a little bit different. I'm not going to click and drag. I'm just going to click on it. I'm going to bring it out here into the center. So I've got now a 1K resistor. What else might I need? Is there a power source here? Let's do a power supply. Let's connect our power supply to our resistor. Well, it's close, not quite. And then we're going to need an LED. There's an LED. Perfect. There we go. Now, we are going to zoom in here so we can see things a little bit better. Let's zoom in. I have tools over here, so I can pick the hand. And this is going to let me move stuff around. So I didn't quite have this power source connected. So let me just actually connect those two things together. So we've got a power source. I can rename this power source. Oops. Let's, so over here, Control Z. Let's see here. So over here we have the name. So I might just name this 5-volt power. And so you can see that that updated the name. I've got my resistor here. So maybe I want to change this to a 300K resistor. And I've got my LED. And of course, I could spread these out a little bit so that they're easier to see. There we go. Now, to complete this circuit, I have a 5-volt power. This is wired to a 300K resistor, wired to an LED. And now I need to complete this circuit with some wire. And so here are the wiring tools up here. I'm just going to click right on this wiring tool. Then I can just, once there's a dot, I can click and drag and go around and click on each of these. And so this is basically the kind of simplest circuit you can make. We've got a power source, we've got a resistor, we've got an LED. So you can see this is a little bit different than the wiring diagrams that we made in Tinkercad. You know, if we pull out a resistor, it actually looks like a resistor. If we pull out LED, you can see it actually looks like an LED. So these kind of, Tinkercad was nice in that it kind of showed us the stuff and what it actually looked like. The easy EDA is going to be a little bit more complicated because it's going to use the actual symbols. And so this is the circuit diagram symbol for a resistor, is this line, jagged line that goes up and down. This is the circuit diagram symbol for a battery. This is the circuit diagram symbol for an LED. And so these are, it's a little bit more complicated because this doesn't look like an LED, but this is the, like I say, it is the symbol. And we can actually see all the different symbols over, whoops. We can actually see all the different symbols over here for the different parts. Like I said, the major parts will be in here. If we want something else, say we want to add an Arduino. to this, whoops, and I'm still learning how to do this because I've got that wiring. Let's just stop that wire. All right, say we wanted to add an Arduino to this circuit. What I can do is I can actually go into library and I can search for Arduino. And we can see that there are some different Arduinos. So here is kind of a circuit diagram for an Arduino with the different parts labeled. If I double click on this, I should now be able to add it to my wiring diagram wherever I want. And so this is, once I click, I can add one, I can add multiple. Click on this hand, now I'm done. And so you can now edit this. I can take these wires, and maybe I want to delete this power supply. Maybe I just want to wire in this resistor and LED coming out of, say, whoops, coming out of, let's say 13. There we go. And maybe going into ground. Let's just wire up a simple circuit here. There we go. And so now we've got a circuit that's basically, coming out of a 13 pin, going through a resistor, going through an LED, and coming back to ground. And so what we want to do is we actually want to not just use this to create simple circuits, but we want to create a wiring diagram for our invention. And so if you go up to this top right, you'll be able to go to your personal workspace. And this is where you're going to be able to collaborate with different teams. So we have an Interns 2020 team. It's also where all of your projects are going to be stored. So, if we've got a project that we're collaborating on, like this Prototype 2020, it will be stored here, and you can access it here. And we can all then work on the same wiring diagram. And so to do that, you should be able to go to wiring, circuit and wiring diagrams. There's an invitation to join the LED tutorial project. So if you want to see the LED project and join that, you can click on this link. But the more important one is to join our Easy EDA 2020 interns team. And so what this is going to do is it's going to basically, if you're signed in, it should hopefully send you an invitation to join our team. And then, sweet, successfully accepted the invitation because I'm signed in. That should be good. And so now I'm already part of that team. But if you weren't, now if you go to your personal workspace and you go to your teams, you should now see that you're part of this Interns 2020 team, and you should be able to easily access the Prototype 2020 wiring diagram. So all of this with Easy EDA, all of this is so that we can come together as a team and create a wiring diagram for our invention so that we can stay organized, right? This is so everyone knows how things are supposed to be wired together so that we can easily troubleshoot if something's not working, right? The other thing that this is going to allow us to do is actually going to allow us to kind of take things to the next level. Say we, get something that works really well and we want to shrink it down. The Easy EDA stuff, if we put a wiring diagram together, it's really easy to take that wiring diagram and actually turn it into like a small chip or what they call a PCB, basically a board that has the different components on it that we want to use. And so we'll be able to more easily kind of shrink stuff down if we have all of our, kind of wiring and parts set up in Easy EDA. So this is really a transition from basic of like, hey, you're getting started working with Arduinos. Make sure that you know how to plug different things in the right spot, right? That's what Tinkercad is for. It's for making sure you get things plugged into the right spot. Now, we're kind of taking the next step to like professional level making. Now let's get an actual legit wiring diagram that we can all read, that we can all use, and then let's continue to innovate what that wiring diagram is, how it works, and eventually what we can do is we can take that wiring diagram and we can actually create the necessary electronics for what we are making. So there is a learning curve. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I definitely have taken an hour just kind of going through. I never used Easy EDA before, and I took an hour just kind of going through, figuring out how it works, how to select parts. I end up like, you saw me like putting in wires when I didn't want to put in wires, but it's just part of the process. I think Easy EDA is definitely the way to go for us. I think that is a good skill for everyone on our entire group to have, at least understand how a wiring diagram works, how to edit a wiring diagram, why a wiring diagram is so important, because we need to make sure that when we're making these different prototypes that they're wired together the right way, everyone's kind of doing the same thing, so that it's going to be easier for us to troubleshoot if something goes wrong. And then eventually we can use that wiring diagram in maybe a patent application. We can use that wiring diagram to actually make smaller prototype parts that we can use and begin testing with, and actually create something that is more new, more usable than what our prototypes are at this point. So good luck using those wiring diagrams. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun struggling through. So enjoy the struggle, and we'll see you next time.